Welcome to Rewild by Design, a podcast for women in midlife who are ready to burn the rule book, drop the good girl mask, and come home to who they really are. I'm your host, Marissa, a human design and Gene Keys mentor, and your guide in this wild woman era. Get ready for bold conversations, raw truths, and the kind of insights that'll shake you awake. Because midlife isn't the end of your story. It's the point where you finally get to write it your way. Welcome back to Rewild by Design. And today I want to talk about something that most women may not even realize that they're doing every single day. And that's leaking energy. When I talk about leaking energy, I'm not talking about just being tired because you worked hard at something, or you had a good workout, or you're just exhausted from doing something that you love. I'm talking about the subtle ways that you may be giving your power away without even noticing it. Maybe through habits or conditioning in your relationships that slowly drain you. Now, I like to think of energy leaks like a bucket. And I learned this analogy like way back in like corporate America, right? Like you have a bucket, but it has holes in it. So no matter how much that you pour into the bucket, you're always losing stuff out of the bottom until you patch those holes. And you're never going to feel full with the holes still in that bucket. And energy leaks aren't always like dramatic, and they're not always something that, like I said, that we notice. And they can show up in super tiny ways. Maybe saying yes to events or favors for someone when your whole body wants to say no. Or maybe spending hours overthinking and ruminating someone else's opinion of you. And especially when we live in this day and age and we're online and everyone's a keyboard warrior, right? Opinions are like assholes. We all have one. So maybe holding on to friendships that drain you because you feel obligated, or checking your phone. How about this? Yeah, checking your phone first thing in the morning and instantly filling your mind with everyone else's priorities or the dumpster fire that is our world right now. Or it could be forcing yourself into rigid routines because you think you should, even when they don't nourish you. Now, these might not seem big in the moment. They're kind of little things when we look at that list, but every leak chips away at your vitality, your energy. I used to wake up, and sometimes I still do, right? Because I'm human and I fall into old patterns. But it was a constant pattern of waking up already tired. And it wasn't because my life was super hard, right? I am very privileged. I have a good life. But I had so many holes in my bucket. By the end of the day, I wasn't just drained, I was bitter, the signature for projectors. I was resentful. And I was questioning myself constantly. In midlife, these energy leaks can get even louder because your body finally speaks up loud enough and won't let you carry what it used to. You can't hustle your way through exhaustion anymore. And some of the most common leaks that I see in women in my life and women in that I'm working with is number one, overgiving. You're pouring into everyone else, and that leaves nothing for yourself. Number two, proving. We're trying to earn our worth by doing more. Three, avoidance. We're going to avoid conflict by saying yes to keep the peace, even when it costs you. Four, comparison. We're all guilty of this at some point. measuring yourself against other women who aren't even living the life you want. Think about that for a second. And then last, numbing. This could be the endless doom scrolling, overeating, overdrinking, overscheduling, just to avoid the discomfort that you might be feeling. Now, each of these is a slow leak in that bucket. You may not notice it in the moment, but over months and years, maybe decades, they add up to that burnout and that resentment. And you can listen to one of the previous episodes where I talk specifically about burnout. These energy leaks aren't one size fits all. We're all individual humans. And how I see this through the lens of human design is they can play out differently depending on your chart configuration. And first, by your human design type. Generators, your biggest leak can come from saying yes to the things that don't light you up, that your sacral doesn't respond yes to. And every time you push through that gut, you drain your life force. And manifesting generators, your leak is getting and staying stuck. So forcing yourself to finish the things that you've outgrown, or locking yourself into one path because you think you should, instead of allowing yourself to pivot with that joy. In projectors, your leaks come from trying to keep up, hustling like generators and MGs, or initiating things like manifestors. And you work past your own internal capacity, or maybe saying yes to invitations of people who don't actually see you and recognize your value. Manifestors, your biggest leak can come from letting other people control you. You're living by someone else's arbitrary rules and expectations, and that dulls your fire, or you apologize for your power. Other people are sometimes intimidated by how much power you have inside of you. So, in order to keep the peace, you dull yourself down, you dull your sparkle. In reflectors, a lot of times your leak is staying in those unhealthy environments that don't nourish you. So when you're surrounded by people, places, or routines that constantly drag you down, it's like a slow poison for your system. And it's not just in the human design types. Energy leaks can actually happen with our authorities. So an authority is our inner decision-making compass. And your authority shows you how to make decisions in a way that protects your energy. So if you're ignoring it, you're going against yourself. And we're going to go through each of them really quick. And if you want to know more about each of your human design authority, your strategy, and everything about your human design, I will link in the show notes all about your Decode Your Design guide. That's my comprehensive digital human design reading. So, emotional authority. Leaks happen when you make those snap decisions in the heat of the moment, or you feel pressured to decide right then and there. You're designed to ride the emotional wave. But conditioning in society and family pressure says you have to decide now. And every rushed yes is that leak. Sacral authority. Your leaks happen when you ignore your gut response. Saying yes out of guilt, or pressure, or logic, instead of that sacral sound. And that's a surefire way to drain your energy fast. Splenic authority. The leaks happen when you second guess your instincts because the spleen talks quietly and only once. And if you miss it, that's when your brain can override that instant decision. And you end up in situations that might not be the healthiest for you. Ego or heart authority, leaks come from proving. You're meant to follow what you truly desire. And that's not selfish, but conditioning pushes you to think about everybody else first and prove your worth. And that's exactly how your energy gets wasted. Now, self projected authority, and this is only for projectors, leaks happen when you silence your voice. You are specifically designed to hear yourself out loud. But if you keep your truth and your desires inside just to avoid conflict, you give your power away. Mental or environmental authority, and that's for projectors as well. Your leaks come from forcing decisions on your own. You are designed to process in the correct environment with trusted sounding boards. Not asking permission here, not asking for advice, just to hear yourself in that right environment. Staying in the wrong place will drain you quickly. And last but not least, lunar authority, so our reflectors. Leaks happen when you rush. You're meant to move with the moon cycle. But the world constantly pressures you to hurry up, and skipping that waiting leaves you in situations that don't serve you. Leaks can also happen with our profile lines. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper in here. We'll go line by line. And your profile will give you clues to where your energy might be draining away from you. Line ones. You could be leaking energy in that constant, endless research phase because you never feel that you're ready. Line twos. Sometimes you end up hiding in that cave too long. You're in your little hermit hole, avoiding the call from your people that's actually meant for you. Line threes. You end up repeating the same mistakes because you're afraid to admit that it didn't work. Line fours. A lot of times those leaks happen when you're pouring your energy into relationships that aren't reciprocal, that aren't a two-way street. Line fives. Sometimes you try to rescue everyone or be that knight on the white horse coming in or manage those projections that aren't even yours. Line six. Sometimes because you live in those three life phases, you may end up climbing ladders that no longer feel meaningful or stay in roles, maybe stay too long in those roles that you've outgrown. Each phase of your life is building and integrating on that previous phase. And when you know your profile, you can see where you're most likely to leak energy and redirect it back to what actually supports you. But what happens if you ignore these energy leaks or you don't address them? Your body will tell you, right? Your system will eventually force you to pay attention. Burnout becomes your baseline. Resentment builds towards the people you've been leaking energy to. It's going to be misdirected. Or your body starts breaking down with dis-ease, illness, fatigue, or stress. Or you can even look back on your life and realize you spent decades running on empty. Hey, hi, it's me. But you don't have to fix every leak all at once. We're not looking for this like silver bullet that's going to fix everything right in the moment. It didn't happen in one moment, so you're not going to recondition yourself in one moment. You've got to start small, bite size. Make it doable, make it achievable. So this could be saying no one time this week where you would normally say yes. And not out of spite, not to be a bitch, but really saying no because you know in your heart it doesn't serve you. Or even try to pause before answering a request of you. Give yourself time to check in with your authority. Or you could notice where you're still trying to prove your worth and ask, who am I doing this for? Or last, maybe replace one numbing behavior, like the doom scrolling, with one nourishing behavior. And even if that's for 5-10 minutes, like not starting your day opening your phone. We're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for one foot in front of the other and building on that so that you can choose that one path at a time so you can call back your energy. And here's a few questions I want to leave you with. Number one, where are the biggest leaks in your life right now? Take a few moments to journal on it. And it's okay. If it brings up big feelings, that's okay. Notice them, sit with them. I highly suggest if you're having big feelings through things, tap through them. Do EFT tapping while you're processing. It will help it move out of your body. Or number two, how do your type, authority, or profile show you specifically where you are leaking your energy? And three, what is one small patch in that bucket that you can make this week? Now, if you would like some help spotting your own energy leaks, I invite you to grab my free energy snapshot audio in less than usually 10 minutes. Most of them are 10 minutes or less. You'll learn how your human design type naturally uses energy and maybe some steps that you can take to stop yourself from running on empty. And again, I'll link it in the show notes. So until next time, I trust that you got what you needed here today, and just take it one step at a time so that you can stop draining your energy and really step into that version of you that's been there all along. Well, that's it for this episode of Rewild by Design. I trust that you got what you needed here today, and just remember, you don't need another checklist. You need your own voice back. So go out, live a little louder, a little freer, and a hell of a lot more like yourself. And I'll see you next time.